So in this video, we're going to focus on POA programs for Ultradwarf Bermudagrass putting greens. Every year we do an Ultradwarf Bermudagrass trial because we get so many questions from golf course superintendents about managing POA on those surfaces. Those questions in large part originate due to resistance issues. When Ultradwarf grasses really started to get a foothold in the golf industry in the Southeast, most of those populations were herbicide susceptible, and it was very easy to control POA in the springtime with post-emergence applications of group 2 herbicides like Revolver. Now that we're in a world where resistance issues are common, control programs are much more intricate and involve far more applications. And I think that's one of the themes that you'll see in the plots that we'll walk through in this video, is that really effective programs, they have you doing something every 90 days. In some parts of the country, those intervals might even be tighter. If you're south of Tennessee, you might be on a 60-day split or even narrower, depending on what your expectation level is and what your demands for in terms of how POA-free you need your surfaces to be and for how long. As is the case with any video that we produce here at the University of Tennessee that highlights our trial work, it's from a trial that has 4 replications of plots. What we've done in the video is we've really tried to drill down on plots in the first replication of this study to allow you to really see treatment differences side by side. The turf that we're on, this is a Tiff Eagle Ultradwarf Bermudagrass surface. POA population here is herbicide susceptible. In some of our plots, you'll see a darker colored broadleaf species, so that's parsley pert. We can point that out for you on the screen so you can see the parsley pert as well as the POA, and then our Bermudagrass that is going to be more of a bluish color. That bluish color is not the nature of the grass. That's a spray indicator from an overlying fungicide program that's on top of this site during the wintertime. As I focus in here, this is our non-treated check plot. So here we have Tiff Eagle. We can see still kind of dormant in the canopy, has that blue kind of hue to it from our spray indicator dye that goes along with our fungicide program and wetting agent program on this green. We can see here, this is our Poa annua through this site, more of a lime green color. We can start to see seed heads in some places, and you can notice the textural difference of the Poa versus the Tiff Eagle. And then this is our parsley pert broadleaf species, more of that purple, darker color that's intermixed in some of these plots that you'll see. So our first plot here, this is a program. First application in the program is going to be benzolide at 6 fluid ounces per 1,000. That was applied on September 12th. What we did after that was we came back 90 days later, so 90 days after that would have been December 10th. Made an application of Katana and Curb, so that's a mixture that's performed well in trials for us for a long time. And then we came back 90 days after that in the springtime. We made another application of benzolide, and you can see that the results from that 3 application series have proven to be fairly strong. Next to it, what we've done is we've kind of changed the A application and the C application, if you will. Instead of having benzolide at 6 fluid ounces per 1,000, we've made an application of POA Cure to start our season in September. We've come in after that with benzolide 90 days later, and we've followed that up 90 days after that with Anderson's Crab and Goose, which is a granular herbicide that contains benzolide and oxadiazone. The difference in control here is there's no post chemistry in any of these. This is the plot you looked at earlier that had pre's and posts in mixtures, and particularly pre-post mixtures at strategic timings in late fall, early winter. Here we have all pre-chemistry and not getting the result that we had hoped for. So the next plot, to kind of build on that, if we don't have any posts in the program, we're not going to get the results that we hope for. So here, this is an application where we said, what if we did nothing in the fall? We know that when we pull winter protective covers on Ultradwarfs, whenever they come off, it seems like the POA just jumps out of the ground. Well, maybe we do nothing leading into that covering event, and we just put out an application of a residual product that's labeled for greens before covering. And that application was made on December 2nd. So no post, and you can see that the results are not what one would hope for. Next plot, kind of the same concept. We know we're going to have to pull a cover. We have a winter event coming in December. Let's have nothing out beforehand in terms of a control program in the fall. We'll start our control program around that covering event. Here we make an application of Stricor. This is a newer Group 15 herbicide that we have tested on ultra-dwarf surfaces for multiple seasons, and it's proven to be very safe and has not done what we wanted from a control standpoint. The lack of post chemistry really hurting us as part of these total programs. So the next treatment we'll look at is more of a total program approach, much like what we saw earlier on in the video. This program started with an application of Anderson's crab and goose on September 12th. That's a granular herbicide with 2 active ingredients, benzolide and oxadiazone. We came back December 10th, 90 days later. We made an application of benzolide, a little bit of a lower rate at 4.5 ounces per 1,000, mixed with Katana. And then we came back 90 days after that in February, and we made another mixture application of benzolide and Katana. The idea with those sequentials in December and February are to have some post chemistry in the tank mixed with some residual to carry us through the time where we need that protection. And then the treatment that follows is kind of the same logic. We start the year in September with that application of Anderson's crab and goose, the granular product. Then we come back with benzolide and curb mixed together. We make an application of benzolide, again at 4.5, curb at 10 fluid ounces, and then we make a sequential in February at that same rate structure of benzolide and curb again. Now, one question you might have is, why is the rate so low? We would have flexibility. We could increase our curb rate if we needed to and still be in the ultra-dwarf label. For this trial, we kept things at that 10-ounce threshold. And then the last plot we'll look at, kind of same concept, right? Anderson's crab and goose is our foundation to start our POA season application in September. Then a mixture of Stricor, a Group 15 herbicide, again, no root activity, residual product to help us from the pre standpoint, mixed with curb here at 10 fluid ounces per acre. And then coming back 90 days after with that same Stricor curb mixture in February, to give us that protection to go from February through the remainder of the POA season in spring. So overall, the take home from this is that we need to have a program that's going to have multiple applications. The length of time in between those applications, it's going to vary based on your geography. You know, here in Knoxville, maybe that's a 90-day split. I think it's important that that 90-day mark, that's the end, right? And I think often we can think about, well, if we're going to push it to 90, what's the harm if we went to 100? You know, I think if you're going to make a decision to go on one side of that reapplication timeline, it would be on the shorter side. If you're in a geography south of Knoxville, you might have that be a tighter window, whether it's 60 days or maybe even narrower than that, depending on what your needs are. But a program is going to involve multiple applications for the full time domain at which you need protection, and it's going to include both pre and post chemistry, where the post chemistry is mixed in kind of towards the middle of the window when we know that our soil temperatures get to a place at cooler than 66 where we're likely to have Poa emergence and it become more of a part of the canopy. So I'll leave it there. If you have any questions on any of the treatments that you saw in any of these videos or any treatments that you might like to see in a future trial, you can leave those below, and thank you for watching.